Hello, hello. Yes, a new intro with new music. I'm happy with it. So yeah, I've had way too much caffeine. My name is Oliver Brackenbury, and welcome to our third live stream as part of New Edge Sword and Sorcery 2026. This is that delightful first 5 minutes where I waffle while people show up. I should probably switch over to the chat so I can see y'all. Please sound off once again in there. Yeah, we're doing okay. We're about halfway through the live stream. I really can't complain. We had a goal of $30,800 and are currently at 57,721. I'm not great at math, but I think we're doing okay. 751 backers. Hello, hello. New record. That's really lovely. Oh, pardon me. Hello, Nicholas. Hey, high five, man. Cheers. By the way, for those of you who don't know, Nicholas Diak is the author of last year's and now this year's Sword and Sorcery cocktail recipes that you'll find at the back of new issues, or actually all our issues except for Zero. Yeah, so tonight is going to be a role-playing live stream of Swords Without Master. And I dropped my pen, pardon me. So we'll be having on the designer of the game soon, and then we'll have our players come on after a short interview to do a demo of the game, so you can check it out. It recently closed a very successful Kickstarter and is now available for late pledges. So we'll have to make sure to link to that in the chat at some point. But yeah, what else? Our thing, we got a couple more minutes of waffling here. So I'm very happy with how well the crowdfunding is done, obviously. And not just because, yay, selling magazines, but also because of what that lets us do. So we've doubled the amount of internal illustrations, which I love art directing, so that's really big. We've got the funds set aside now for a shipping discount for people outside of America. So $5 off for Canadians, $10 off for everybody else outside of, North America. Pardon me. So that's really lovely. And then we have worked through 4 raises for our authors, getting them up to pro rate, 8 cents a word, and hopefully we've got time to go even further. And then we've also just today, just like 2 hours ago, managed to get a fourth 25% raise for the artists. So that means 100%. So that means double pay for the artists. And again, we have 15 days to raise more, to pay the contributors even more. So I'm really happy about that. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Okay. So I probably waffled enough. Pardon me, and again, too much caffeine. So maybe I should shut up for a sec and get someone else on to speak. And that someone else is Ebadiah. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
So thank you very much for making time to join us. I know you've just done a crowdfund and are probably, I don't know about you, I need like a week of sleep after the end. So maybe you're a little pooped. Maybe you've run enough demos. So I really appreciate you coming out to do this with us tonight.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Yeah, like I don't know about you, I'm a forever DM, so I love any chance to play. So I appreciate that on a personal level. And also, it's a way of like making time to try out other systems. I think a lot of us can get stuck in the same ones over and over again. And, whether it's 5th Ed D&D, Dungeon Crawl Classics, or maybe something else entirely, Shadowrun, I don't know, you kind of get stuck in a groove like what you do with your group. And it can be difficult to go out and try other systems. So this is a fun way for me to do that, and also to let other people, try out vicariously by watching, of course. Would you mind giving us sort of the 5-minute, what is Swords Without Master? What exactly? What makes it Sword of Sorcery? What makes it a fun new game? Yeah.
So Swords Without Master is. Let me see here. I should have a really good pitch, and I don't. This game has been around for a little over a decade now, in a published form. But it is. I wanted to do a sword and sorcery game for quite a while, but I wanted to do one that was very something different than the standard, the root of our hobby, let's say, right? Like I wanted to kind of and there was another thing that was happening. It was a group of friends of mine. We get together and we did this thing. It's a silly name for it, but we called it play storming, where we would have like an idea, like the smallest sliver of an idea for a game, and we would try to create it while we were playing it. A little bit like Calvin Ball, if you're old enough to know Calvin and Hobbes, right? Like, and we had like a friend observe while we were watching Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. A friend observed that this movie was like didn't know what tone it was in. It was as if somebody was rolling 2 6-sided dice. One was zany and the other was grim, and whichever one was higher was what that scene was going to be.
Yeah.
And so we made a game called Monkey Dome, which was a post-apocalyptic, zany and grim, a few more rules on top of that. We made it in a week. We did it for like a group. It was like we were going to a small local con and we wanted to have like copies to hand out at the con. So we did everything. It was illustrated, laid out, printed, everything. And you would think we'd be sick of playing that game, just like it was nothing for a whole week. It was just that game. But on the train ride there, we were a little bored because the train was running a little slow. And a friend of mine was like, do you want to play Monkey Dome? And we're like, yeah. And he goes, I have an idea. What if our tones aren't zany and grim? What if they're young and guns and it's a Western? And we were like, oh. And while we were doing that, my brain went, hey, Epi, this is how you write your sword and sorcery game. This is the thing. This is the kernel here. So the tones in Swords Without Master are glum and jovial. At the time, I was rereading the Fafhrd and Grey Mouser stuff. Fritz Leiber, I think that's how.
Yep.
I'm not sure how names are pronounced.
We all. I mean, I published Sword and Sorcery, and I'm just like Leiber. I always need a second. Let's go with Leiber for tonight.
It's weird that I feel more confident about Fafhrd than I am.
Yeah.
And I just noticed that like whenever one of them was jovial, the other one was glum, and that was like they just kept trading off like that, and I thought that was fun. And then I was like, okay, let's reread all of the Sword and Sorcery. Like let's go back to it, and I ended up pulling out the old Conan and that first the Phoenix and the Shield, I think.
Phoenix on the Sword.
Phoenix and the Sword. Yeah. And that opening, that amazing opening, the No-O Prince, he talks about his, gigantic mirth and gigantic melancholy. So I was like, okay, this is it. This is the one. This is. So yeah, that's where the game came from. I like to say that the game cares more about the tone of your narration than it does whether you win or lose or like fail or succeed or anything like that. And we'll get into the rules and we'll kind of show how that goes. But yeah.
Would you say this is a more storytelling focused system rather than say simulationist? Because that's the vibe I was getting from reading about it for sure.
Yeah, like very explicitly. I'm looking over my screen over here. I got my rules. I mentioned earlier that like I wrote them down for a reason. I can't keep everything in my brain, but the very explicitly there's an objective. Like it says in the beginning, it says together you will toil to craft an enthralling sword and sorcery short story. Like it just out in the open. It's like your goal. Some of the players will be the rogue players, and they will like each have a character that they're responsible for, like you are in like more traditional role-playing games, but you're also all working together to make this story enthralling, right? Like it's so there's definitely more of a focus on like what excites you about the genre and less about like can you overcome this difficulty or something like that.
No, I dig that, and I think it's enjoyable sometimes to switch priorities from like how much XP can I scrape to like how narratively satisfying can we make tonight. And often I find as a GM, I was mentioning folks before this, like I'm a forever GM. I will often try and tell my players, I'm like, look, it's sometimes dying is the coolest thing you can do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Sometimes that's the most fun. Or being horribly cursed or any number of other things we view as like fail states can actually be like tremendous victories depending, of course, on what your goal is. I think we got a good crew for this tonight. I'll bring them on in a sec, but I just want to ask one more question, and then I think it's probably best we just get into the game. What is your personal like origin story with Sword and Sorcery? Like you mentioned reading the classics, but like for example, the one for me is like a lot of people my age, Savage Sword of Conan magazine, reprints, and of course Conan 1982, right? I mean, I'm pretty basic, but hey, it got me in the door. Was that you? How did you? Okay.
I mean, like definitely the Arnold, that Conan, like almost every year we have on DVD. We kind of watch I like to watch Red Sonja, Conan the Destroyer, and then Conan the Barbarian in that order, because it not necessarily like, oh, this is chronological or anything like that, but like I like all three of the movies, but I want to save the best for last. I don't want to say that, but you know what I'm saying. Like it's
I do. I mean, yeah.
but I loved all of the fantasy from the movies from the 80s, and I read like a lot of the books. Like I have more vivid memories of that section of my public library than I do of like some of the classrooms I spent almost all my childhood in. But yeah, so there's that. There's definitely the comics, and there's of course Dungeons and Dragons, right? Like that's the and Tunnels and Trolls. It was like the moment, actually, the very first role-playing game I ever got exposed to was the TSR Conan from the mid 80s.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
They tried to adapt it. Yeah, mixed results together, but
I think I was like 12 at the time, and a friend was like, "We're going to play this game," and we just made characters, and that's all we needed to do. Like my brain was on fire at that point. I was like, "Yes." So yeah.
Awesome. And I guess last question before we bring on our players. It's okay if you don't have the perfect answer at hand. Just what comes to mind first is excellent. What is maybe a key quality of sword and sorcery that makes you really love the genre and like be passionate about it enough to do game design and reread and rewatch and all those things? Like, yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. So writing the game, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what isn't sword and sorcery. Like, so
Yeah.
I find that it's a very elastic genre, and I love that. Like, you'll be reading it and like, oh, it's an alien. Oh, okay. Or there's a robot, or there's a time traveler, or like that kind of. And I am very happy with that. Like, I really enjoy that. But also, that doesn't mean it's everything, right? Like so I spent a lot of time trying to find ways to be like, this is what it is. This isn't what it is. But I also, don't want to be prescriptive about it for anyone.
Well, it's tricky, right? You want to identify a specific voice, but you also don't want to be the comic book shop guy. Like, well, actually, and like gatekeeping and being a jerk. So yeah, what was your road you found, you landed on after pondering?
Yeah, so I mean, one thing there was like apparently before blogs, before all the like fanzines existed, and the names that we know were people in those fanzines, and there was apparently a discussion or like letters that went back and forth about sword and sorcery between Michael Moorcock and Fritz Leiber. Like, what are we going to call this genre? Yeah. And they were like, specifically, they were saying this genre that's fantasy but not Tolkien. And I think that was like the thing that I love Tolkien, but that's not what I'm doing here. And then like that's the it was for me a very like instructive, but like again, I don't answer the question, which is a much better question. Like, what is it that draws me in? I think it's the wonder. Like I over and over again doing like art direction. I'm like people. I find art direction. You said that you enjoy art direction. I really love getting art, but I have such a problem putting into words what I want from art. I don't want to be like. So oftentimes I'm kind of like, I just want to feel wonder. I want to look at something and be like, what's going on? What's happening? Or just in awe. And it's not exclusive to sword and sorcery, but it's a genre that reliably hits that from and I think that's the thing that really like snags me, the thing that just no,
I'm right there with you. There's a kind of deep sincerity that comes with these stories that try and re-enchant the world, whether it's with supernatural elements or not. There's such strong sense of nature in a lot of sword and sorcery stories. Great wondrous deserts and hills and so forth.
Yes.
I know. I really connect with that too. No, I appreciate that, man. All right. Well, we could do an interview for at least another hour, I'm sure, but we're here for games. So I'm just going to turn on the Swords with a Master background and bring on our players. And it's a good thing that this is a, narrative-driven storytelling kind of thing, because we have an author, Jeremy Pack Nelson, who some folk may recognize from the TOC of New Age Sword and Sorcery. Hey, Jeremy.
Hello, hello. I'm very happy to be here and excited to roleplay a sword and sorcery story.
Nice.
Yeah, no, sorry, go ahead. I'm so excited. I'm speaking over everybody. Pardon me, only child over here. Yeah, no, I'm keen to see what's going on here, Jeremy. Especially because, of course, I've read and edited and enjoyed your work, right? So it's going to be interesting. And then we have another editor who also, author who has editing experience. So again, storyteller knows what they're doing. Rick, hi, Rick.
Hello, it's nice to be here. Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, no, it's good to have you, man. Like, I've seen you around the server, but like, this is I think our first time we actually being on a stream together. So that's cool.
Yes.
I say I think because the crowdfund just like scoops out my brain like a melon baller. So I'll do my best, but I appreciate y'all being patient with me tonight. So with all that said, everybody, Epidiah sent us a Google Doc with like some stuff to like track the 4 different, the different rogues and some other things to do with the system. So I've got that on my second screen. I'm not like getting daydreamy looking over to my right. But I think at this point it would be good if I turned it over to you, Epidiah. Please,
all right,
take it away.
Yeah. All right. So, like I just mentioned, Swords Without Master is a game that cares more about the tone of your narration than whether or not you succeed or fail. It's great, Oliver, that you mentioned like dying or like things that we think of as fail states as being like this game wants you to want to do this, right? Like it wants you to put your characters in bad situations and see what they do. It wants you to like well, okay, like I said, its objective is we're going to tell an enthralling sword and sorcery short story, and that's our goal. That's what we want to do. The game at times will help us do it, and at other times it's going to get in the way, and it's a thing that we want to like the same way that the rules to like say basketball don't say that you get a point every time you catch the ball, right? Like you have to do something with it, right? Like, so we're going to start off. I'll talk about what you're gonna you will be rogue players. Your characters are rogues. Rogue not in the D&D sense, but in like an older sense. I found a wonderful legal definition for it from like I actually don't remember what year, but like medieval era, where like a rogue is somebody who is not visibly employed and doesn't own land. And I was like, oh yes, no, that's exactly what I want. I want like you wander the world, you show up, you're at times like dangerous or useful or like just sexy because you're something new, or something terrifying because you're something new. Like these are all like what we understand is just you're often outsiders in the situation that you're in, or more specifically you exist outside the hierarchies of society. You're neither kings nor serfs, right? You're your own people. You're also heroes, and I want to be very clear that this doesn't mean that you're heroes in the sense of someone we should look up to. Like you could certainly be a morally upstanding hero, but that's not. I mean, hero in the more classic sense of like you're able to do great deeds. Whether you decide to do them or not is up to you, but like your character is capable of great deeds. As we play the game, we each have a pair of 6-sided dice that we can tell apart. One is going to be your glum die. I got this little gray. I don't know if it shows up. And this is my jovial die. These are the dice I designed the game with, which is cool. They're my sword and sorcery. They're my Swords Without Master dice. When you go to do something in this game, before you do it, you roll the dice to determine your tone. Whichever one's higher is telling you. The tones, like I said, are glum and jovial, but we're going to interpret those as much broader than just like happy and sad, right? These are, they're more like flags for a wider penumbrum of tones. Like the glum is anything that is, could be sad, but it could also just be quiet or contemplative. It's the moment in the movie where the soundtrack is in a minor key, or like it's dark, or it's cool. Cool as in cold, or cool. Yeah, you can be cool too. That's fine. And jovial is the opposite. It's bright. It's warm. It's hot. It's loud. It's the major key. It's the intro music. Actually, the intro music was a little suspenseful. Could be either.
I see what you mean, though. Yeah. Upbeat.
Yeah. And so like, and it's perfectly reasonable to be happy and glum, but you're not like joyous, you're more content, right? And it's perfectly reasonable to be sad and jovial, but that's like, ugly crying, or like just like in a like not sad but like in a sad rage or something like that. You just find your how you want to represent it. What I like to say here is that you'll be doing your narration in your tone. I'll have I forgot to mention, I will be the overplayer. That's the GM style role. I roll for an overtone. That's the tone that I'm in. So we'll all do narrations in our tones. Our job is not to police anyone's tones. We know what they rolled, so we're trying to interpret it. We're giving everyone the benefit of the doubt. But if you're like, hey, I'm not sure how this hits this tone, feel free to ask, and sometimes that inspires a change in the narration or something. It's usually good. All right. So I'll get into like the rest of the rules in a little bit, but let's talk a little bit about what it takes to make a rogue, because we're going to make characters here. On this sheet, there are 4 spots for rogues. Feel free to claim one.
Top left.
Yeah, and and you feel free to change any fonts or anything like that. Whatever inspires you. So your rogue is going to have a name, even if your rogue's name is like the unnamed rogue or whatever. That's fine too. There's also going to be what we call. All right, hold on one second. The Eidolon. For like 12, 15 years, I've been calling this thing the Eidolon, and then like just in the past few months, I was like, I should make sure I'm pronouncing that right. And I was
you've
not.
only ever read it in Clark Ashton Smith,
Right? Yeah, exactly. That's the
doesn't come up a lot in my day to day otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. So the Eidolon is something of our world that reminds you of your rogue. Quite often, this is like a piece of art. We are, as part of the Kickstarter, we're hiring a ton of artists to make art cards, tarot size art cards that are, can be used as Eidolons. It could be anything though. Like it could be a song, it could be lyrics or a poem, it could be an actor that you imagine playing the rogue, or it could be I've run games where everyone brings a drink that's from their rogue's homeland, which is a lot of fun. That kind of thing. So the only rule that we have is like no AI, please. Like if it's art, like it's human made, and if you do find art, like we have like a little link here. Oftentimes when we're playing online, people just find art online and they share it for like, they put a little link in there. See if you can find out who the artist is and let us know. Like that, I like to, give credit where credit's due here. Now, you don't have to do that first, but that's the first thing on this list here. The next thing we have, the order of these doesn't matter, but the next thing we have on our list is all that deserves a name. And this is like just anything that that either belongs to your rogue or is somehow related to your rogue that you think is important enough that needs a name. There's a mechanical thing that goes on with this. You have control over all that deserves a name. You have like a certain amount of narrative control to prevent, say, for instance, you put down your rogue's brother, and you're like, my brother who is hunting me because I stole something from the family or whatever. I can't just out and out kill your brother. Like I can't like say, oh, you come across the body of your brother, unless you're like, I'm cool with that. Like that's a great story thing. Because it's named there, you could be like, that's not how I wanted that to go. And it just gives you like a little bit of like a little bit of control over it. Like nobody can take what you've written down and like turn it against you. That said, these will often be targets of things. Like I know that that's what your character cares about, and so there'll be moments where I'm like, I need to motivate you, so let's do that. Let's bring your brother in. I have a list of things there. It could definitely be like, relatives, could be your homeland, whatever comes to mind. A lot of people like to name their weapons, like if you have like, it's always fun to have like a mount, like, you know, Battle Cat, you know, or what have you. And then we'll get to the. Am I going okay? Or how are we doing on pace here as far as like?
Oh yeah, no, I'm
Yeah,
following.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just enjoying thinking about what my Eidolon. Oh dear.
Eidolon.
Eidolon. Jesus Christ. Eidolon know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm just having fun thinking about that while listening to you.
Yeah, yeah. And feel free to stop me if you have a question. And also, when we start playing, I will be going over a lot of these things again. Like repetition is how we learn. So, so the feats heroic are basically you're going to list two things that your rogue is capable of doing. These aren't necessarily things that you do all the time. You may never have done it before, but it's something you can do. And you're going to do one for each tone. And there's a couple reasons for this. The first reason, there's like a mechanical thing where at some point in the game, you might come across a die roll where you're like, I really don't like that die roll. And you can, once per game, ignore it and invoke one of the two feats heroic, whichever one you want. And that's your new tone, and you do the thing that you wrote down. So you're basically calling your shot here. You're saying, I'm going to start singing the dirge of my people before I wander into a battle I know I can't win, or something like that. And then boom, that's what we're doing. But the other reason why we do this is because it's a sword and sorcery story. Your characters don't have to be 3-dimensional, but they have to at least be 2-dimensional, right? I need to get you thinking about your character in both tones, because if you make Elric McGlumgloom and then you roll jovial all the time, you're going to be very angry at me. So I want to make sure that you, although I joke that all the time, but like, I really love Elric's angry rages. Like he runs around screaming and swinging that sword of his, even at his allies. He definitely could go jovial. These feats heroic can be anything. If it's your first time in playing, you might want like a prompt, and I'll say just imagine your character up against impossible odds and what they would do. Like if they're fighting a massive army or some horrible monster. They don't have to be that, but like that's a clear prompt there. The trick is the final thing for making a character. We're going to wait till you're done with the rest of them. The trick is basically a way for you as the rogue player to kind of take a little control over some of the mechanics of the game. So I'm going to have to like describe what those are before we make some decisions about them. But I have like a small list of tricks that are appropriate for first-time players, because you don't really need to know much about the rules before you do those. But yeah, let's see what we're doing for characters here. Yeah. And because it's going to be the first time playing this game, definitely has I would say it has a short story feel to it. Like it's not, it could be episodic, but like I was inspired by a lot of the old pulps where sometimes the character, like the stories, you read one of my favorite examples is Fafhrd and Grey Mouser like discover where stars come from in like two different stories, and they're the exact, they have nothing to do with each other. Like there's no, you can't resolve them. It doesn't matter. Like this game is like, that's okay. You know, like we're not going to be beholden to continuity of any kind or anything like that. So, you know, I think, again, first time playing, we'll just kind of assume that your characters have been wandering together for a little while. We'll do a little bit of the old in media res to like get things started.
I think I've already got some idea of my character just because I am taking your advice and thinking about something that I can model him around quickly. So my Eidolon is Terrence Stamp in the Limey, a late 90s
Oh,
Steven Soderbergh movie.
yeah.
Basically, sort of a professional Cockney thief who tended to be much lighter tone in general, but he's suspects a powerful musician as a sort of record executive has caused his daughter's death. And so I was like, well, there's an easy motivation. I'm seeking my daughter, or more accurately, I'm seeking the man who I think is responsible for her death. But in the meanwhile, I might as well pull some thievery and make some money along the way. And actually, I'm curious because along those lines, it's going to sound like I'm just want to talk about my favorite movie, but it connects back to the game. One thing I love about that movie is the sense of time in it is very all over the show. Like the editing of scenes is very, you can watch like the end of the scene, the middle, the beginning, and then all around again while hearing the dialogue. And that got me thinking about this last part that I'm seeing here because I don't know how this would work, but where it says tricks.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting. One of the many ways to break the rules found on the trick list.
Yeah.
Could you? So in my head, I was like, maybe a time breaks around my guy because editing. I don't know, but I have no clue if that's viable. So would you mind explaining to me and others what that trick thing is all about?
Sure. Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say, there's even a section, there's a section in the rules where I'm like, you don't have to go in order. You don't have to do a chronological thing. We're going to do everything in this game is done in phases, and I'll talk a little bit about the phases in a moment. But they don't have to chronological. Like we can start at the end. We can start with all your rogues dying and then go back.
We all killed Jeremy. What was that about?
And every time.
Yeah. So we don't need to even break the rules to do that kind of thing. And I think that'll be a fun thing to play with here. But maybe I can go on a little bit and tell you a little bit about the phases here. There are 3 phases in this game. They're not in any particular order. And in fact, we'll often do the same phase one right after, the same phase 2 times or 3 times in a row. But the phases are just they're how we're engaging. They're mechanically how we're engaging with the fiction, right? The 3 phases that we have are the perilous phase. In this phase, your rogues' lives are always on the line, and what that means is, actually, I think the term for it is death is on the table. And what that means is you're allowed to kill your rogue if you want to in a perilous phase. In the other phases, you can only do it if somebody else offers it and says, that death is on the table. And then you can be like, oh, okay, yeah, now we can do it. During the perilous phase, what will be happening is I'm going to be telling you, all right, we need to talk about dice passing. Right now, we have, I'm sure, several time zones between us. We definitely have space and time, gulfs of space and time between us. So we're not at the same table. This game was designed before, more than a decade ago. And so I had envisioned that everyone would be sitting at the same table, and you would be only using the same 2 6-sided dice, and you'd be passing them around. So that's going to be kind of important. That's fine. We'll keep track of it. We have a little thing on this sheet where I have a little purple and orange dice icons that we'll just pass around. That's easy to do. At the beginning of every phase, I'll have the dice, and I'll roll them for my overtone. That's the tone that I'm narrating in, and that the rest of you get to narrate in until you get to roll the dice. I will start telling you where you are, what's happening. It's very railroady. I'm saying what condition you're in and all that. Sure. And then I pick up the dice when I give you what's called the thunder. And the thunder is a distant threat. It's usually just a hint. Oftentimes I don't even know what it is. I'm just saying that there's something that sounds suspicious. We might find out what it is as we keep playing, or we may not. The thunder is sort of a mechanic for just throwing things at the wall. It's foreshadowing for when we want it, and if we don't, it doesn't matter. It's forgettable, and that's fine. I'll pick up the dice and I'll give you the thunder, and then I'll hand the dice to one of you to begin the phase. In the perilous phase, where death is on the table, what will happen is I'll hand the dice to one of you, and then I'll start describing what's called the storm, which is the immediate, imminent threat that you're dealing with. If you're something you're fighting, or it could be like an environmental problem. It could be a literal storm. Something that you're dealing with. I'll just keep telling you horrible things that are happening. You're allowed to like tell me how your rogues slip and struggle with it, but only the person with the dice can succumb or overcome it. That's the rest of you are just like, the way I gotta think of it is like almost like pro wrestling. The rest of you are like selling it. The rest of you are like making it look cool so that when this person rolls to overcome it, it's gonna have more impact. So whoever has it, let's say Oliver has the dice here. Whenever you want me to shut up, you tell me you're rolling the dice, and I stop right there. My narration ends, and you get to roll the dice for the tone, and you take over to say what your rogue does. And you can say how that has an effect on, you could say I slay all of them, or whatever you want to do. Or you could say I take a swing at them, and then you're like, all right, Epi, what does that do? Right? Like, you have the leeway to do whichever one, however far you want to go in the fiction. When you're done narrating, you pick up the dice, and either you hand the dice back to me to end the perilous phase. You're like, that's it, we're done with the perilous phase. Or you just hold on to them, and I will then pick up my narration again. You can't roll the dice again until someone else rolls them. So I'll start telling you horrible things that are happening, and you'll pick one of your fellow players to hand the dice to whenever you want. And sometimes that's a game of chicken that happens in it. Oftentimes I'm like, am I not making it bad enough for you? Like, what else do you want from me? And again, like whoever gets that dice can decide when I shut up and when they take over. That phase ends when the player with the dice decides that the game that phase is over. That's the perilous phase. We also have a discovery phase. The discovery phase is where we kind of learn about the world through your character's experiences, like either their history or what they're actually seeing or experiencing right now. The discovery phase starts the same way. I roll the dice, I get my overtone, tell you where you are and what's happening. Then I hand the dice to you, and you immediately roll, and you get to make a discovery about the world. You get to tell us something like, oh, I remember that this happens, or I just found on the ground this glowing blue sword. I wonder what it does. When you make a discovery, you then have to ask me, looking for a better term for this, but right now, as the rules stand, it's called a loaded question. And it's basically a question about this thing you've discovered that cannot be a yes or no question. Because yes or no questions, like if you're like, I found this talking skull, is it angry? Like, yeah, it's angry. Like, look, there's usually like a very straightforward, but if you ask, why is it angry? Then we're getting somewhere, right? We're getting into like an interesting zone. So you ask me a loaded question and I'll answer it. And this is usually something that your rogue knows. You can convey it to the other rogues, and that's fine. Sometimes if you want, we could be like little dramatic irony, like we, the players, know this, but the rogues don't. There might be some die rolls that will like say, hey, let's do the dramatic irony thing. I'll get into those in a moment. But anyways, once I've answered that question, I get to decide if the discovery phase is over. During the discovery phase, you have no need. It's not your job to just ask questions about the story we're telling. You can go orthogonal. You can go wherever you want in this world. What I'm doing is I'm fishing. I'm just like, I want to hear what you have to say about the world. And I'm looking for what's interesting and where we might go next. So it's my job to end the discovery phase. If I'm like, okay, no, that's cool, but I would need a little more, pass the dice to the next person. But again, you don't have to like answer in the same way or along the same lines, or make a similar discovery or anything. You could be like, oh, let me tell you the story of this fairy tale from my people. And I'll be like, okay, that's good. Let's keep going. So that's the discovery phase. The final phase that we need to worry about is called the rogues phase. This is sort of like the catch-all, but it's a little bit like your rogues are unleashed. What happens is, start it the same way. I roll the dice. I get my overtone. I tell you where you are, what's happening. I tell you the thunder, and then I hand the dice to one of you with a demand. And that demand always starts with the phrase, show us. And it's often like, show us how you sink the Emperor's fleet, or, it's a little bit like a dare. You roll the dice, and then you tell us how you do that. Once you've done that, you pick up the dice, and then you get to make a demand of one of the other rogues. So you it's this like back and forth, like, show us how you get us captured, or show us how you free us from the cell. Like you just keep going back and forth. That phase ends whenever anyone wants it to end. Like somebody gets done narrating, you'd be like, okay, we've had enough of the rogues phase. It's done. All right. I've barfed up a lot of mechanics here. The reason why I barfed those up is that we're going to talk about the tricks. The tricks are ways that we're kind of like going to be able to mess with this, mess with the rules a little bit. Now that there are more tricks than this in the system itself, but we're going to stick with ones that like I have found are best for like first time players. The way the tricks work is that each player can only have one trick, and you shouldn't have the same type of trick that someone else has. So I'm going to describe 3 or 4 tricks here. If you hear one that you're like, I really want to do that, just speak up and we'll make sure you're the one who gets that. The first one is locus. This is just, you write down a setting here right now on your rogue sheet, some place that you want to visit, like a ziggurat that floats upside down in the sky, or just like a comfortable inn. You want to go to hot springs to soak your feet, right? Like, or something like that. Whatever, you write that down now. As we play the game, whenever we're between a phase, you can say, Epi, whatever this next phase is, it has to happen here. And that is what's going to happen, right? Like so this is a little bit of that unmoored in time thing. Like you might be in prison, and then you're like, well, whatever this next phase is, Epi, we're going to be at the hot springs. And I'll be like, okay, we'll figure out what happened in between later. All right. So there's that one. There's the, I got to scroll through my rules because I'm going to get these names right. The inevitable foe. This is something that you want to fight. This might be like something that's named, like for instance, Oliver, your character has the, is it Ponda? Is that the
Peter Fonda? Yep, but Ponda.
Yeah. That's good.
I mean, in the fan, he plays the villain in the Limey, so I just shortened it into I was going to say this sounds right for me, but please continue.
Yeah. So if you're like, I absolutely in this session want to make sure we end up fighting Ponda, then boom. You're good. Like you write that down as your inevitable foe, and in between the phases, you can say, Epi, whatever this. Sorry, you can say, Epi, I need this next phase to be a perilous phase, and Ponda has to be there because I'm gonna open. All right, so you're going for it. That's good.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for that. Yeah, that sounds perfect.
There's also canny cognition. This is a similar one, but this is about the discovery phase. This is something that your character, some avenue your character has to knowledge. It can be like they studied in like some lost library somewhere, or they happen to like know how to read the wind in the trees, or they like even like they just have better eyesight than most people, or something like that. You could say this one lets you say, hey, this next phase is a discovery phase. And let's see how this rule works. You may demand that. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. You demand that it's a discovery phase, and it will not end until you've demonstrated your rogue's unique insight. And then the final one for this set here is the adroit prowess. This is the rogue phase one. Again, this is like, hey, my rogue can sprout bat wings and fly, and we haven't done anything with that yet. So you write that down, and then you'd be like, again, between phases, this next one's a rogue's phase, and you have to open it with a demand to see these bat wings, right? All right.
I would like to go ahead and claim the locus. I really like that hot springs idea, but specifically with those Japanese hot spring monkeys involved.
Yeah. Yes.
My character.
I'm gonna go for canny cognition. Is it okay if I don't commit to how canny I am just yet, or the mechanism of the canniness?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to like wait until that kind of arises in your character, then that's fine. Yeah.
Hey, Jeremy, you need your character Cool Hand Lictor, and I'm just thinking of Cool Hand Luke from Westerns. Is that what's going on here, like me and the Limey, or is that just me doing pattern recognition?
It isn't actually, but I'm all for that connection. I was going for a different kind of pun, soon to be revealed.
Oh, okay. Well, don't let me step on
that. Yeah. Do we want to introduce our characters? I have like a couple other things to talk about the rules, but I think before we do that, maybe we learn who these characters are and
Sure. Well, I mean, I kind of talked about mine, so I'll just be mega quick so we can get to Rick and Jeremy. So I'm going with the Slimy, my off-model medieval version of Turnip Stamp from the Limey. Professional thief, spent half his life in jail. Under normal circumstances, very jovial, having a good time, kind of cockney, but whatever the fantasy version is of that. However, his daughter got involved with a powerful, rich bard who is a bit of a jerk, and he has recently heard that she might be dead and because of his negligence. Not even evil directly per se, so he wants to find him and get him, and that's why he's with the gang traveling.
Awesome.
My character is Brother Dalen. Think of like a Friar Tuck archetype who had been like a simple farmhand until the village was destroyed. Have not figured out who destroyed the village yet, but was raised basically after that in an abbey where he did not fit in because he was too ragingly bisexual and just equal opportunity lech with too many people, and was eventually chased out and took some valuables and fenced them on his way out. So the father of that abbey is got a reward out for him, basically.
Nice.
But pretty easygoing otherwise.
And I am Colhand Lictor, or just Cole for short. Also came from a farm, but that farm was cursed to ruin as a side effect of some grand sorcery, possibly by a magician or sorcerer named Ohm that may have been working for some governor or in some official capacity. It was entirely a side effect of that magic, or at least that's what Cole believes, that ruined his whole family and left him with no place to go. So he's been roaming the lands ever since, trying to make a living and figure out some way to extract revenge if he can.
Excellent. That's great. Like this group of rogues, we got a lot of juice here. One thing I'll say, like about the tricks, I just setting expectations, is that like I would say about at least half of the games nobody ever uses them. You're perfectly fine to use them. Like they're just there if you need them, but you just don't like feel like, oh, I didn't play the game right if I got to the end and didn't use them. The same with the feats heroic. They're there when you need them, but they don't. It's not a thing that you're going to use over and over again. All right. So the last sort of moving part to this game, on the left side of this sheet, you see this thing marked threads. There are 3 kinds of threads in the game. I'm going to start with the bottom and work my way up on this list. That's fine. The audience can't see what's going on here. This is good. The morals. Occasionally, you're going to do things, and you're going to do oopsies, right? You're going to do a thing, and there's going to be an unintended consequence. The dice will tell you when that happens. We're going to roll the dice, and if both of the dice are 3 or less than 4, like 1 and 3 here or whatever, but not tied, then you get a moral. So in here, my glum is 3, my jovial is 1. This would be a glum moral because the glum is the higher die. you can, when you get a moral, you can describe, you can ignore the fact that you're getting a moral, and you can leave it to me to come up with the unintended consequence of what your actions are. Or you can go ahead and describe what those unintended consequences are if you have a good idea for them, or you kind of want to like have a little control over what they are, or whatever. My duty in this particular case is just to make sure that that has teeth. Like, you might be like, we got into a fight and I spilled my coffee. Coffee doesn't seem very sword and sorcery. Well, whatever. I spill my drink, and I'm like, that doesn't have teeth. And then you can argue with me. You can be like, well, no, like, make sure it has teeth, and we might like later on be like, everyone else is fine, but you're dying of thirst because suddenly you're in the desert or whatever. But usually what it is I'm like, you spill your drink, and like somebody you step on it and you get like glass in your foot or something like that. Like, it's my job to make sure that it goes like far enough that it feels like it has something. But you can go ahead and describe it, and you might actually I'm like, yeah, no, that's fine. That's great. What happens then is that you have to write a moral on this list. We have 3 bullet points here. You can have as many morals as we roll, so we'll add more if we need them or whatever. But you just write down a little lesson that your rogue should learn from what happened. Now, I say should. Your sword and sorcery rogues, very often you do not, right? And that is perfectly fine. Like, this is not, we're not like.
I always think of the old Seinfeld rule that they had for writing that show, where every episode they were like, no hugging and no learning.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, we'll get into what happens with morals in a moment, because we're going to move on to mysteries. If you roll a tie, both numbers are the same, you get what's called a stymie. I had to find a tie here. There's 2 5s. Neither one of these is higher than the other. So what is your tone? What's going on? When a stymie occurs, several things happen. Number one, you're somehow prevented from doing whatever it was that you were intending to do. It depends on what phase we're in or whatever. Like, we have to like interpret what that is. But quite often it's pretty obvious. You're just like, oh, I was going to beat this guy up and now I can't. And you get to like explain why or what happens there. It doesn't mean that like, I was going to beat this guy up. Now I never can. It just means at this very moment, you can't. Like, you can come back and give it another shot. That's fine. The overtone, which is my tone, will flip when you do that. So if we were glum and you rolled a tie, it'll go to jovial. And that, we'd like to represent that as an escalation of some kind. Like, you're having a quiet evening. I keep coming back to like a tavern thing or whatever, and you roll a tie, and then, oh, okay, now we've broken out into a brawl, right? Like, this is a tavern brawl or whatever. And then someone else rolls a tie, and now we have to escalate to glum again. And it's like, oh, somebody draws a sword, and everybody goes silent because now, death is on the line, or, that kind of thing. And you could just keep doing that as long as you're rolling ties. Those are stymies. If the tie you roll is 3 or less, so again, like the morals are 3, they're both 3 or less. And if the tie you roll is 3 or less, that's a mystery. It's the same thing that I was just describing, except whatever's preventing you from doing it should either be mysterious or supernatural in origin. And you get to describe what that is. If you need help, like, we can all jump in and help there. You don't have to actually explain what it is. You could just be like I went to punch him, and then like my whole body froze, and I don't know why. Because what happens is you go to the mysteries on the threads here, and you write down a question about that mystery. Like, why did I freeze up? What happened? All right. So those are our morals and mysteries. Now we get to the motif. This is our ticking clock of the game. As we play the game, your fellow players are going to say a lot of awesome things. When you hear something that you're like, that is sword and sorcery, like somebody is like an altar drenched in serpents, you're like, yes, please. You just write that down. Now, it has to be something that someone else said, Like I can't be like describing an altar drenched in serpents and then be like, I'm really, really happy with that and write my own down. So pay attention to what your fellow players are. You write that down. That's the first element on our first motif. Now these 3 bullet lists have meaning because there's only 3 elements to each motif. We're going to fill those in. The first one we'll just fill in whenever we hear something awesome that we like. I'm going to remind you that this happens in the beginning because it takes a little bit to get into the habit, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe we're all just really into it. But once we fill that first motif in, we'll move on to the second motif. Same thing, except one of those elements on that second motif has to echo something in that first motif, which means as we're describing, we'll have to like keep the things that are happening in the first motif in our heads, and we have to be like I'll be like, now you're fighting a giant serpent, and be like, or somebody else would be like, there's an altar of skulls, or something like that kind of thing. If we find one that echoes and we like it, we write it down. Maybe we'll put a little asterisk on both of them so that we know that they're echoing each other. That's just like a little affect. We don't need to know that. But like once we have found one, then we're good. And then we fill in those 3 on that second motif. We move on to the third motif. And third motif is just like the second motif. You just need to echo one from either one of those first motifs. You don't need to echo from both of them or anything like that. It doesn't have to be an echo from the second. It could be an echo from the first. We have a larger pool to echo from. Once we fill in all 3 of those third motifs, we enter the end game. Right there, the moment that third one, somebody writes that third one in, the end game starts, which we play out just like the rest of the game, except now we can reincorporate our threads. You reincorporate a moral by either learning your lesson, teaching the lesson to someone else, or proving you'll never learn that lesson. There's just,
there we go.
Whatever happens, you just be like, you reincorporate a mystery by either solving it or advancing it with another question. And with the motifs, you reincorporate. These are a little bit more difficult to reincorporate, but the way you reincorporate them is you pick one of the motifs and you take 2 elements on it and you combine them. You synthesize a new idea. So if like one of them has that, because I mentioned the serpents and I mentioned the skulls, and then you could be like, oh yeah, the entrance to the fort has like a giant serpent skull over the top of it, that kind of thing. It's fine. That's a reincorporation. When you reincorporate a thread, the narration that you're doing is the final narration you do for the game. From that point on, you cannot have the dice. That's fine, because once 2 of the 3 of you have reincorporated, our game ends right then and there. If our game ends and we're like, like this needs like another beat, then that third rogue player gets to roll the dice and do a sentence or 2 as an epilogue. But that's it. Like this is sometimes short stories end and you're left wondering whether he chose the lady or the tiger, right? Like so I think I've done all the rules of the game. We have some characters. How are we feeling? Should we get started with this? Do people have questions?
I would love to, yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right. 1 second. Just stretching out. All right. I've done a lot of talking. I'm going to roll some dice here. I'm rolling for my overtone. As I said before, every phase begins with an overtone. I rolled a 5 and a 4, and we're jovial. So I'm going to start describing. We don't need eidolons for adventures, but I often find it helpful. Oh, I didn't actually look at some of the links here for the eidolons here.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, I just put the wiki for the Limey. So,
oh yeah.
I think you really want to see a picture of Terrence Stamp with like shock of white hair and all black dress, I guess. But
all right. Well, I'll look this up in a little bit. But so however, this morning I was at the dentist, and I'm going to use that experience as my eidolon. I'm imagining a giant, a corpse of a giant, like a huge, like massive giant, not like, Goliath, not like twice the size of a person, but like mountain size. In fact, laying against a mountain, its head back and its jaw open, where it has been slain many, many years ago. But because it's a giant and their physiology is different from us, it's taking a long, long time for it to decay. And there's like a whole ecosystem that has like built up around it. And there's a town inside the open mouth of that giant, right? Like it's laying back, its mouth is open. The town is like on the roof of the mouth, which is where the gravity is taking us. Is the head, like it's got a beard that just sticks out into the sky of like these tree trunk size hairs that have like birds flying in it, and
village children climbing them.
Yeah. In fact, I think it has like a long mane of hair. I'm jealous. And it that's how you get up to it, right? Like you climb up it. The inside, there's the village is carved into like the roof of the mouth, and like the tissue there is like almost like stone, so they have to like kind of carve their way. So like the sun comes up and it pours through. I think there's even like one of the giant's teeth is like a gold tooth, right? Like, so there's just this giant gold tooth up there. There's like the tongue is hanging down, and there's just like flowers growing out of it, like it's fertile ground or whatever. And I also have like this vision of like those birds that help I think crocodiles that like peck at their teeth, like just all along the teeth of the giant. There's like, actually maybe that's how some people get here. Like some people come by giant bird, right? Like cranes that they can ride or whatever. I should tell you what kind of phase we're going to do here. We're going to do a rogues phase. We're going to start off with that. The three of you are here just in your travels. There's no like, you had no goal to be here, except that like maybe from a distance you saw this giant and you were like,
glint of gold on the horizon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, feels like something that would draw my character for sure.
Yeah, and the people that live here are I'm what did I say? I'm jovial. Okay, yeah, I have like a little thing to keep track of my overtones, a little star there. It's fine. I will forget that at some point. It's whatever. The people there are just generally like happy. They're enjoying the life. They have like, fruit is growing from their ceiling that they could just pluck, right? Like they're so far up that nobody can like raid them or invade them. They're a little bit of like a trade thing. Like the birds come in and people on Birdback come in and take like things, trade things or whatever. It's a very happy kind of place. And right now, to even kind of nail that home, like they're in the middle of some kind of celebration. It's like midsummer or something like that. And so it's a lot more. I got to figure out my geography here. I'm thinking about like eye sockets and like whether sunlight would be pouring through to a certain spot, but the head's tilted the wrong way for that. So let's not worry about that. Like, anyways, so there's just like a lot of like street things, like people are out in the streets, like banging tambourines and things and enjoying like a very fun time here. So let's look at these characters and what demand can I make of oh, you know what? Actually, this is. I feel like this might be Brother Dallin's scene, so I'm going to hand the dice to you, Rick. And the demand is: show us how Brother Dallin just joins in, just is part of the like enjoys the celebration.
Do I need to roll first?
Yes, always roll first. I will, from time to time, remind you of that. But yes,
that is a 5 on the jovial, outranking the 3 and the glum.
Mm-hmm.
Just this is his element, like left the abbey because it was too disciplined, and this is just like revelry, chaos, noise, flowers, like flowers getting put on them as they come into the main square below the gold tooth, and just like grabs what would be the appropriate measurement, just like a flagon of mead, like fruit mead from the honey, because there's like bees up in one of the teeth and stuff like that. And it's just like already just like loading up on alcohol, grabbing fistfuls of pastries from people, perhaps assuming that everything's free for the taking because it's a festival. I'm possibly stepping on some toes as far as like rules and expectations of strangers go, but just like throwing himself headlong into it, dancing around the gold tooth with people.
That's awesome. Yes. It's always a good assumption that things are free and you could just take them. I think that's gonna pan out really well for Brother Dahlin there. Yeah. So if you felt like, okay, that's what I want to say about this, answering that demand. That we're in the rogue's phase, and like I said, the rogue's phase can end whenever anyone says, let's move on to a different phase. However, first time playing, let's keep the rogues, let's give everyone a chance to play out the rogue's phase.
Jeremy?
Yeah. So you make a demand. So you'll say, oh, good. I like the grabbing the dice. That's great.
All right. Let me look at your character real quick.
Yeah.
I am open to almost any demand.
And demands often, the ritual phrase is show us how this happens, and show us. Yeah.
What happens with Kulhan's cognition?
Oh.
Am I doing that right?
No, you're fine with that. Like, so the way the canon cognition works is that Jeremy will have a chance to say we're going to do a discovery phase.
Okay.
But I didn't state this on the up front, and I should at least point it out now. Even though the perilous phase is about fighting, and the discovery phase is about learning things, and the rogues phase is about like just about everything else, that doesn't mean you can't fight during a discovery phase or learn something during, like those are the phases are about the rules we're using and not what's happening in the fiction. They just happen to line up with it. So you could definitely be like, yeah.
Let me rephrase. What does Kulhan notice that's off?
All right. Yeah.
Well, I rolled a double 4.
So, okay.
So I guess that means that we are now in a glum overtone. Is that right?
Yeah. So the overtone, my tone, and your tone are glum, but you're still jovial, Rick, because that's what you rolled. Right. Wait, you rolled jovial, right? Yeah. See,
yes.
I'm already forgetting. And this is one of those areas where we can absolutely play with dramatic irony. You could totally tell us what you should have noticed and didn't. That is
okay. And is there anything that's special about rolling above 3, or is that just 3 or under that we get the mystery?
You don't have to do a thread for any of these. It's just kind of an escalation, but I think that's just naturally going to occur from not noticing something you should have. Like, that's not, yeah.
Well, this place is full of mysteries. The first thing that Cole kind of wonders to himself is like, has everyone here just lost their sense of smell? Because this corpse is corpsing. I'm wandering around trying to use my extensive knowledge of worldly currencies and how people, barter for goods, and I'm completely at a loss because everything is free and I don't know what to do with myself. I tried to pay for a pint of mead so I can get some change, and I was laughed at. And this is absolutely not turning out to be my kind of scene.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm gonna.
Yeah. No. You go ahead and make a demand. I was just gonna say I really like this the idea that nobody else is smelling the corpse. So I'm just gonna put that down as our first element there. And feel free when you hear things to write things down, but I get to write things down as well. So that's it. Go ahead and make your demand. Yeah.
The slimy. Please show us what how you've involved yourself in some strange local ritual.
Oh dear. All right, so I got my gray for Glum and bluey red here for Jovial. Let's see how that goes. Oh wow, okay, that's a hard Glum. I got a 6 for Glum and a 2 for Jovial. So
Good.
there you go. There you go. How do I involve myself? Sorry, can you repeat that, Jeremy? How do I involve myself in the local ritual?
In a strange local ritual.
A strange local ritual. Okay, so my guy, he because he's been in jail a lot. He likes to when he's out on the outside, he likes to try and take control of any situation he's in because he's sort of insecure. He wants to be in control. He's not in control in jail, but here he can be in control. And the way he does that, being a mouthy person, is he does it by kind of coming up to people and just like sharing all his thoughts and monologuing at them and like not really listening. And so he comes over to a couple people and he starts monologuing, kind of being like, "Oh, so you guys are in this place and you don't smell it. What's that about? I mean, are you guys just not here paying attention? Is that your sensory thing? What's going?" And next thing he knows, one of them starts like he notices his open mouth and starts putting flowers in it. And just like it's like a bunch of flowers like shoved in his face. And he starts like even just trying to spit them out. He can't help but like chew them a little bit. And some of the juice from the flowers gets in his mouth. And then he kind of, at first he's ready to like, he's still trying to spit them out. And he's kind of half cursing them out, very annoyed by what's happened. But he does notice that the smell of the body, which was driving him crazy, is lessening.
Oh.
And then he sort of pauses and like thoughtfully, like he spat out half the flowers and now he's thoughtfully chewing the remainder. And then everybody's like, yay, like he's joined us in the ritual of eating the flowers. So he's like unwittingly, sort of now he's thinking about it. He's not actually joined in from his point of view, but he seems to have joined in on the ritual chewing of the flowers, which suggests an answer to the whole smell situation.
Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, so that's me. Yeah. Okay. I guess I should toss it out to someone else, and we'll do a little more maybe before we go to Perilous or Discover. So I'm gonna say. Oh,
and you don't have to do this, but I always forget to mention this. You're in the rogue's phase. You can make a demand of me. I have to answer in the overtone, and it's usually a demand about the world or the people in the world. Like if you have a situation where you're like, "How do they react to this?" or something like that. I'm not saying you have to do that now.
Yeah, but no, it's good to know that's an option. And you know what? Yeah, fuck it. We haven't done that yet, so I'll do that. So Effie, could you show us how we get into trouble?
Okay, good. Well, I'm glum now. I was setting up a whole Jovial thing, right? Like, so, I'm gonna go big. I'm going to ask for a volunteer. Who would like to be the fall person? Okay, yeah, all right. That
was quick.
Yeah.
Drop rocks at me. Go for it. Yeah.
I was thinking of I'm trying to think of what would be the structure here. Okay, this is what I'm envisioning. You've been eating the flowers. I think that the flowers themselves, like, not only dull the sense of the corpse, but like they're maybe hallucinogenic. They have some drug-like quality to them, right? Like, so there's other things going on. Like, if this were a movie, we would start to get like the wavy vision and wah-wah guitar going on in the background and that kind of thing.
A theremin maybe.
Like we can lean into this like the whole in and out of time kind of thing, like where you have like visions of events that have happened, the three of you in your many travels, and then some visions that like the audience hasn't seen yet and we're not sure if you've seen them, or like there's like and I'm not going to lean into those visions just yet, but you're moving around, and at some point you get away from the crowd. You get to like kind of a quiet section, and you lean against something. This is what I want to do. I would like you to accidentally remove like the support that's keeping the jaw up. So like you lean into something and something falls out of place, and then like something else, like a domino kind of effect, right? Like you know, something else leads. Like it's not one support that's holding it up, but one support that leaves, the rest of them start to splinter,
Start
and
creaking.
yeah, creaking. And this is okay. So one thing I say about the tones is that like what you want to do is you want to hit your tone. So oftentimes you're actually in the opposite tone to just highlight it. There's creaking, there's splintering, there's a lot happening, and then the jaw comes down with this massive loud sound, and then silence. Like all the parties stop at once, and darkness, because like it's just the light peeking out from the like gaps in the teeth, and the like the massive tongue that has like all the fruit bearing trees on it and things have slammed down into the middle, and people are aghast, like, and there's just this long quiet moment.
Yes, the tongue like just taken out part of the village, because if it's on the roof of the map,
Yeah.
the whole situation is the way. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So like it's is that fine? I don't want to
You're the overplayer. Lay it on us. That's what happens. Okay.
All right. Yeah, that's great.
And we can interject with. Can we interject with what our characters are doing?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So I don't realize what's happening at first, but once the domino effect begins, I think this place was not built by serious people. These flower eaters do not know how to build a sturdy, well, anything at all. And I make note of where Brother Dallin is and where the slimy are, because
flung headlong into some jars, by the way.
Excellent.
Oh, right, yes.
Because I feel like we're going to need to work hard to stick together after whatever is going to be happening.
Okay. Yeah. No, my guy, like, even if he wasn't starting to get a little high, like, he sort of quickly assesses that, like, he's fine, and then is quite relaxed, even though something very insane has happened. Because he's like, well, I'll adapt. That's what I always do. And just kind of looking around, trying to, like, yeah, okay, I'll see where my buddies are first, and checking in on where they are. Can I see both of them, or have we been, like, blown asunder by the whole thing?
Oh, I think there's enough chaos going on that you like. I feel like Callhan Lichter can keep an eye, because already getting the vibe that that's what your character is like, keeping an eye out there. But I think like for the rest of you, like you're in an altered state, and well, Brother Dallin was on his way to an altered state, I assume. Like that was yeah. So I'm actually going to end the phase there. Because I have I want to start a new phase, and this is that I think I'm going to do discovery phase, but let's roll to find our tone first. Oh, okay. I have rolled a glum, which is great because we're in the dark right now. This would normally be a moral, but I wrote the game, so I don't have to do that. Oh no, sorry, the overplayer doesn't have to doesn't do any the morals or mysteries or even stymies. It's just easier that way. All right. I like the idea that Callhan Lichter was like looking around, locating all of his companions, and then like as the camera's following that, I oftentimes imagine how this would play out in a TV show or something like that. We just kind of like sweep around, and then you're still looking for all of his companions, but now you're clearly in prison somewhere. Like the three of you have been. Oh no, wait! I shouldn't be all three. No, let's do all three. We'll just make it all three right now. They just realized that you all came together, and they were very upset about what happened. The prison is in the deeper in the skull. Where would be a good place? I'm going to go into the gullet.
Okay.
Oh, you want to do an eye socket? We could do.
I was going to go with sinuses because those are like really convoluted.
Oh my! Oh, that's horrible. Yes, I love it. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So it's a giant. It's huge. So where you are, it's sort of like you're in a cell. There's bars that keep you there. That nothing around you is level or flat because it's just built out of the the contours of the sinuses or whatever. And like there are holes in things leading away from you that just get smaller and smaller. Like they are not barred. You're welcome to try and go through them. I guess that's the way it is, right? Like they know that they have you trapped there. All right, so we're gonna do a discovery phase. Oh, you know what? I completely blanked on giving you a thunder last time. That's fine. Whatever. I'm gonna give you a thunder this time. Those inside those the cavities that go away from you, you can hear skittering. You can hear like something moving around in there. It's the thunder. The rules of this game are such that if I don't tell you what that is, you're welcome to come up with what it is. Like you don't have to be like, I think Epi has a plan for that. If you have a plan, we're going with it. Like if I didn't say it out loud, it's my fault for not saying it out loud. So, all right, that's the thunder. Now I'm going to hand the dice. Let me hand them to Jeremy. So what you're going to do, the discovery phase, you roll right away, and you just let us know something about the world. It could be something you're currently just witnessing or seeing. It can also be something that you remember or something that you know. It doesn't have to be about anywhere this story is headed at all. Like none of it, like you could be whatever you want to do here. You could literally be discovering something, or you could be, like I said, recalling something. Or
I got 6-4-2 jovial. So I think actually I'm feeling pretty good because these idiots are getting what they deserve. Even though I'm suffering alongside them, this is not new to me. I noticed that, in the one entryway that is barred, on the other side, there's a lamp, and I wonder if it's possibly fueled by fat deposits from the giant.
Yeah.
Like it's a whale oil, but from a cheek or lower down.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. So you make a discovery, and then you ask me a loaded question about it. Now, my answer to that, if you're asking, is it? The answer is yes, because that's cool, and I want that. But so you have to ask a question that is not.
But my loaded question is, how long have people been excavating this giant?
Yeah. Okay, so this is something that I think not necessarily because but like you're observing it, you realize that this giant is of an age that like is before. Nobody's seen a giant like this before, right? Like this giant is from an age or two ages before whatever age you're in now, and it's been sitting here untouched for so long, and you think, these people must have just been here for like a couple generations, like relatively recent compared to how long the giant itself must be here. So basically, I think to make this like have like a some impact or whatever, it's sort of like they've been here long enough that it has been abundant and is done like, but now they're reaching the limits of that, right? Like they're starting to hit the what it can supply. Like for generations, it's been nice, and this is like maybe the last or second to last generation that can enjoy the abundance of the giant. All right.
And do I pass the dice?
Yes. So I'm the one who decides if the phase ends, and I want a little more discovery to go on. I should also point out, if I should have done this between the phases, I apologize. Has there been anything else we want to add to that first motif? Did anyone hear something else that they really enjoyed? It's fine if we don't, like, we're not insulting anyone by saying, no, we're not there yet or whatever. But like, I just want to keep reminding people that thread is there.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay.
Maybe just the notion of the 1 week point.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Actually, yeah. There being structural weak points to this huge thing we're in feels like a rich vein. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Go go ahead and drop that in.
So if we're staying in the discovery phase, who's up next?
I will pass the dice to the good brother.
All right.
Tried to do something cool there, and then I dropped him. All right. Let's see. That is 6 to 5 glum. All right. So still soaked from smashing into these jars of liquor. Got a little bit of the anti-smell properties from like drinking the mead, which is made from the flowers, but not as much as slimy. And headache from alcohol and slamming his head. It's beginning to have like a little bit of a come down from the party mood of before. Here's the skittering and catches in the light of this cheek fat lantern something approximately wolf-sized skittering away from the light.
Oh, yeah,
but with a lot of legs.
Yeah. If you want to ask me a loaded question about it,
let's see. What would be a loaded question? Of how much protection is there between our group and these scuttling horrors inside?
Right.
Like presumably we don't have our weapons at this point.
Yeah. They didn't. They took your weapons away from you. At least the ones that they could find. I don't know how resourceful rogues are. We might find that out.
Like the lay of the land between us and these noises that we're hearing.
When you described it, I had this vision of like a very like I'm blanking on the Dark Crystal, like a Dark Crystal, kind of like Muppet shadow going by or whatever. Yeah, I think that the best protection you have that you could tell is just that, like, if they're cut, because the cavities that they come out of, or that you suspect that they're in there, are long enough that like you'll hear them coming before your protection is just early warning, right? Like they make noises on it as they skitter around through it, but like nothing's going to stop them if they come flooding into the I say flooding, we don't know how many they are. You saw one or more of them come flooding into it. I like a wolf with multiple limbs. I'm going to put that down. Or wolf-like,
maybe a wolf spider, but big.
I'm going to say, because all wolves have multiple limbs. I'm going to more
than usual.
Limbs. We'll go limbs because we don't know what's going on. All right. First motif is filled. So again, when we do the second motif, we're just going to want like something that echoes something from the first one, but that hopefully will arise in how we tell it. Why don't we just continue with this discovery phase one more time to give everyone a chance?
To slimy.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to roll them dice.
Yeah.
And wow, once again, hard glum. 6 on glum, 2 on jovial. My guy is dark.
Hard glum is a great title for a Slimy's movie, by the way. Like that's a good.
If I was a detective, I'd be a glum shoe. Anyway, so I look around. Like I said, my guy spent a lot of time in jail, and damn it, now here he is again.
Yes.
And so his first thought is, well, this thing has been getting mined for ages, and it's looking like it's getting through its last ever phase of abundance. This jail has maybe been used for a long time, and though they may have taken all but my favorite stiletto that I keep in my underwear or whatever, I'm feeling unequipped to deal with whatever the skittering wolf situation is. So my first thought is, how many people have been in this cage before us, and what's left of them? Are there any like skeletons of past occupants? And could there be something, either to use their bones for, or perhaps, there's like a rotten old lock pick on a corpse that like the guy couldn't get to work, but I could, or like what could we scavenge from the ruins of past visitors or past occupants of our cage?
That's great. Right. I like the idea that down into these cavities you can see like the trail. Like if something grabbed a prisoner and dragged them into there, they left bones behind. Like there's like a trail of or like a something died and got picked clean, and then some of the bones rolled down, or whatever. So that like in these cavities, you can like reach into the shadow and pull it. Like you can see like the white of the bone, the bleached white of the bone in the shadow, in the flickering cheek oil light. And so there's that. I think there probably are like scraps of clothing. I don't know if they felt necessary to like chain people in here. So like there's not like chains or things like that. But yeah, you could definitely like scrounge some bones to try and do like a used as a pick lock, or lock pick.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, like my guy spends a lot of time in jail. I mean, whether it's your classic shivs or attempts to make lockpicks or whatever, like there'd be a lot of like making little things, sharp fiddly things out of whatever you've got available. So I know we're in the discover phase, and I kind of did my thing. So if I wanted to like build on what we're doing here and be like, okay, well now I'd like to investigate one of the bones and see if there's a good one for turning into like a pick that I can try and drive into the keyhole on the door. How do we get there? How does that work with the rules?
I mean, like you could you could have jumped right there if you wanted to. Like you could have just said, "Oh, I found a bone and it's a good pick." Like what and ask me something like that. But that's fine. I think we've gotten to that part, and I think this is like a good like. I feel like mutually we came to the idea that you had this you want to get this pick or some tools, like even just like primitive weapons, right? Like you could like a femur might. You don't know what's going to come out of that thing. I'm going to end the phase there because I am feeling what you're putting down, and I do want to start a rogues phase to see what happens next.
Okay.
Again, I'm unmoored in time. I can go to the future. Like I just jumped to the fact that you're in this prison, but I am going to actually start at that very moment because I like what's going to happen next. Before I do that, like I did before and forgot to in the last. If there's anything you want to add to the motifs, like any description that you really liked, since the wolf-like one, we can add that. I will roll for my overtone. Ooh, I'm jovial.
I would add maybe dark holes into which bodies have been dragged.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Pardon me, I have a intentionally noisy keyboard.
Yeah, no, it's good. I do like a clicky clack. So I'll grab this. I'm gonna go back to the rogues phase here because we'll do a perilous phase soon enough. But like what I want to see here is I think I'm gonna go straight back to you, Oliver. Show us. Sorry, I have to describe the situation. You are still in the cell. I think you're still in the cell, and you reach for a bone, and you heard the scurrying coming up. That's the thunder. And so you step back for just a moment, and like things stop, right? Like as you kind of went into the cavity and then like pulled back. No, the thunder is you do that, there's the scurrying, and you heard apologies. The I am jovial. The thunder is the crowd of people outside the cell demanding that that they pull you out and execute you in the street, right? Like this is a straightforward thunder, right? Like this is the
maybe I don't want to pick the lock anymore.
Yeah. Like
close the door.
Yeah. Can we secure the door with the bones?
And so my demand then that I'm going to make of Slimy here is show me how you acquire these bones, right? Like as you reach for them, the first time you tentatively reach for them, you heard something approaching, so you're like, okay, wait, we got to be good about this. So handing the dice to you.
Okay, so I guess I'll roll first. Let's see how that goes. Wow. Okay. I have intense feelings. I have a 6 on both.
Oh, okay. So you're unable to get these bones.
Okay.
We're gonna go glum, and it should be some sort of escalation. There's no thread. Like you don't have to do a moral or a mystery here because they're both above 3. So, but yeah,
no problem. I mean, I can think of very quickly what happens here because I imagine I would look for if we have an angry mob directly outside our door. Mm-hmm. Definitely, my mind has gone to like other places. I was gonna pick it, but then like, geez. So I look at the various openings. And I'm like, well, what's the biggest one?
Yes,
and I find the one that like it'd be tight, but in theory, one of us could crawl into it. And I sort of shove my upper body in, like reaching around trying to see if I can find a club, a weapon, something to that effect. But if we're going to escalate things glumly, then I would say I reach and I grab one part. It feels like it has a serrated edge. And I'm kind of like, oh, sweet, that's a really good weapon. And so I grab that and I'm pulling and I'm pulling. But then I feel like a kind of a mucusy, like unsticking. And then I kind of pop. And then I've definitely unplugged something. And next thing I know, I get a face full of like, I don't know why it's liquid, but it's liquid. Horrible giant mucus. And surfing that or a wave of little like 9-legged wolf spider babies. Presumably the mother is the bigger thing that we heard charging around, and they're all over me, and I kind of go Wah! And pull out into the cage, into the cell, just covered in little spider babies biting me and like green slime, like I look like something out of an old He-Man toy, and I'm dismayed. But I do have a large bone with a serrated edge.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, so that's cool. So that's me, I think. And I guess now I should go toss it to the Rick or Jeremy and say, "Show me something." Yeah.
Yeah. Or we can end the phase. And if
I would love. No, I already know what I want. It's a tight call, but I'm going to say this feels like a Rick thing. Rick, could you show me how Brother Dalen tries to help me, but only makes it worse?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, let's see. That is glum.
Oh, no.
How injured would you be comfortable being?
That's a good question.
Do whatever feels right.
Okay. Just in the dark, in the shadows, I see you struggling on the ground in kind of like this amorphous, sliding mucus deposit that has been unleashed with creepy crawlies everywhere, and big guy, like Friartuck archetype, just wails at what I think is one of the creepy crawlies. We'll say it's your foot, and we'll go with sprain, if that is comfortable with you. Just like, not even sprain, just kind of like makes it like a rough impact. And also my fist is also kind of like, bone on bone, is temporarily out of commission for a bit.
Cool. Yeah.
All right. So we're both holding parts of ourselves like, geez.
That's great.
All right.
And Cool Hand, how do you further our escape from this situation?
How do you improve the situation? Yeah.
Yes, I think. Well,
how do you attempt to improve our situation, depending on how the dice say?
Slightly jovial. I realize that the way forward is not in whatever antics you two have decided to engage in. And I'm just shaking my head and also intensely discomfited by like this carpet of spider limbs that has just started spilling and gone through the bars, and I assume that at some point we'll start hearing the arachnophobes in the crowd scream and react. And I'm thinking, okay, like these bars look pretty sturdy, and I start exploring what they're actually anchored to, because it is just this weird bone and it's irregular and it was never meant to be a cell. And I figure, these spiders are living on something, and that something is living on something else, and it's probably what we're standing in. So can I continue? Do I need to
No, you absolutely, if whatever you think is needed to meet the demand,
okay,
that's in your court.
And I start tapping at the bone around us, and I notice that some parts of it feel suspiciously soft.
Yeah.
As if there's one weak point.
Oh. Should we, I mean, like, if that's a good echo, you can write that down in the yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So does Jeremy then toss it to someone, or are we ending the phase?
I think I'm going to end the phase there. I think we're going to do frying pan fire kind of situation here. Oh, all right. I have rolled double ones. We were glum. So now we're back to jovial. That's it. Like, again, I don't have to worry about threads or stymies or anything like that. We're going to do perilous phase.
Okay.
And we're going to, like, I think that, like, we have sufficiently proven that we can escape from this, whatever's happening here. I am going to, this is now taking place. Okay. You got out of the jail. We're not going to like look too closely as to what happened in the in-between moments. You can still be covered in mucus. You can still be covered in mead. It's fine. We're not that far into the future yet. But you're running for like the I'm sorry, I'm actually feeling the roof of my mouth to try and figure out. All right, so the part that goes up to the teeth, because you're gonna have to like go up and out of the teeth to get the teeth are, the jaws are closed, but like teeth don't make a perfect seal, and it's a giant, so you should be able to like squeeze out. There's light, you can see that light. There's an angry mob dealing with things, but I think there's also the angry mob here is again the thunder. The actual imminent threat, the storm that you're dealing with, is that there are specific guards, and I think that the guards themselves are like I'm gonna go with it, like they're bigger than normal human beings. Like they're like, maybe they've been eating something special from this giant or something like that, but they're not obviously as big as this giant. They're like 8 feet tall or something like that. They're just very like and they are wearing I'm trying to think of like, I think it's like an armor that's made out of like the hairs and things that are like braided. Like, yeah, why not? Let's just go with that. Let's just like, or it's a makeshift thing. Like sometimes some of them have like parts of like but it's made out of different parts of this giant, right?
Could be like plate mail made from the teeth, right? Like,
like
knock off sheets of it and strap it together.
Yeah, let's lean into the
enamel
dentistry.
Shields.
Yeah. And they have poles that have they have poles that are long, and the ends of them are hooked, and it's just like this doesn't make sense with the scale. Never mind. I wanted them to be fingernail clippings or something like that, but it's like that.
Okay, I was imagining like dental tools at this point, just like scrapers,
yeah.
but like full arm size.
yeah. Basically, that's what it is. Yeah, like they're like they're hooked picks that they're like gonna reach at you with. So this is the perilous phase. I've given you the thunder and the storm. I'm gonna give the dice to one of you. I'm gonna give it to Slimy. You're literally slimy right now, aren't you?
Yep.
I like that. Self-fulfilling. No, actually, I'm going to give it to Brother Dallin here. So, Brother Dallin, you have the dice. Now, the way the perilous phase works is I'm going to just start telling you bad things that are happening. Everyone is welcome to slip and struggle with that. Tell me what your characters are doing or whatever. But again, only Brother Dallin can succumb or overcome the situation.
I have
you
two
you're
sixes.
just rolling. Yeah, okay, this is great. So in the perilous phase, you can wait until I start describing like the bad thing.
Okay.
But if you roll right away, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Yeah. What were we going to say?
That was it. Like I didn't wait for you to say anything, so I was just like,
yeah, no, I think that's great.
I'll just keep this roll, but wait to jump in at a certain point.
Sure. And then when you're ready to take over, you just roll the dice and say, take over whatever you want to do with the narration. I'll shut up at that point.
Okay.
And you're allowed to, when you take over the narration, you're free. You don't have to slip and struggle anymore. But if you're like, I want to keep slipping and struggling, that's fine too. That's it. But yeah, I mean, like we have enough preamble here. If you have a thing that you want to fail to do right off the bat, because you said 2 6s, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to escalate to Glum. If you have a thing in mind, we can go with it, or I can just start describing what's happening.
Just that, like running up these different passages to we see daylight filtering through like the dust of the wreck that's still settling because it's such a big space, and it's like later almost evening light coming in from the opposite direction of what it had been, and we're struggling like half blind up these passages. Presumably one of us had the thought of taking the lantern. Being a pole arm kind of guy, Brother Dallin would have found like a very generously sized femur at one point in these tunnels, and is like batting away any sort of like creatures that we've encountered, probably running in the back because larger guy. And one of these guards is going to probably get into the meat of my thigh with one of these like hooks.
Ooh, yeah.
And just slam face first into the running surface that we've been on, with like daylight just like so frustratingly close to us, and the other two are ahead. And what at this point would I pass the dice to someone else?
Yeah, you could absolutely pass the dice to someone else, or you can hold on to them. You can't roll them yet, but like you can hold on to them while I give you like bad things that are happening.
Okay.
But I love this image of the daylight, like you described like motes of debris,
like dust from the collapse is still settling
in the daylight between the teeth. I just
like pollen
that image,
and
yeah. All right, we're on to the third motif here. All right, I'll keep describing. Okay, so one of them gets you with like this hook thing. You slam to the ground. The other two can definitely have witnessed that. Like, I mean, you're often work
like
together.
There's like a little bit of distance between us, but not like an insurmountable distance.
Yeah. So whenever you want to pass the dice, just let us know who you're passing them to.
I would pass them to Colhand.
All right.
Okay.
So I'll just keep describing. I think they're happy to have at least caught one of you. So the giant that like hooked you, like pulls this is one of my techniques, is to just go after not the person with the dice, because often when you go after the person with the dice, they're like, I can take it, it doesn't matter. But then I'm going after Brother Dallin right now. Like he levers it up and is like pulling you down, and like it even has like we're glum. You know what? I feel like this. I don't know why this feels glum to me, but like it's got the nails on chalkboard sound as it's like pulling you closer to him. The other giants, let's say there's 3 of them. There's 3 of you. Flank him and move forward after the 2 Slimy and Cool Hand Lictor there. Yeah, the other 2 giants, like they flank him and they move ahead, and then like because they close ranks, there's like a moment where you could see Brother Dallin in pain on the ground, and then they like cover him up, you can't see what's happening. I'm just gonna keep coming. They have a much mightier stride, and they're very used to moving on this weird roof of the mouth kind of like I don't know if it's like a weird gate or anything, but they're able to like catch up to you really, really quickly.
And can I ask a question?
Oh yeah, please.
How is the Slimy doing? You know, with the
mucus
and the mucus and the mild injury.
Oh yeah,
I'm just trying to figure out, you know, what the odds are with the 3 of us.
Yeah, I would think I'm probably more likely to be caught before you. Jitterbeing's lightly hobbled.
Is this the you don't have to outrun the bear, you just have to outrun your friends kind of strategy here?
But also, you know, it's a long way up to those teeth. Even, you know, I can see the light sort of catching the edges of them, and very different meaning to stained glass. And as hopeful as that image is, I don't think I have the skill set to make it all the way there on my own. So I'm gonna roll.
Roll.
Yeah. All right. So I'm 6'2" jovial. So
all right, yeah.
I am going to attempt heroic feat. So do I actually, that's also a good question. Do I have to do a jovial feat when I'm in?
No. You okay. Ignore the dice. So if you want to do your glum one, go for it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do this tainted spirit thing, which, you know, it stems from my traumatic experience in the farm when I earned that name, Coal Hand. All of the flock had been inflicted by this, you know, bloody pox, and I just spent hours and hours killing every single one of them by hand until I had lost all sense of time and all sense of emotion. And I just go back to that place, and I my whole demeanor changes, and maybe it's because some touch of that magic has stayed with me all those years and has infected me and given me this ability to inflict that time and place upon the people I'm with. And suddenly the 3 guards are not so sure on their feet anymore, and they wonder if something very strange is happening. And maybe my sobriety has something to do with all this too. I don't know. I did not partake in any of this flower business.
Yeah, I really dig that. I want to figure out how to like throw that in the motif here. I mean, I'm just gonna steal straight from your feat heroic there. Inflict. Wait, man, I'm misspelling all over the place. Yeah, that's great. I dig it. I really dig it. All right, so you are the one who gets to decide if you want to end the phase here. If you don't, I will just keep coming with more
So if we end the phase,
storm.
I guess we could potentially go into a rogues phase, right? And
Yeah, we can go into like whatever feels natural. I get to pick what the next phase is,
Right,
but
okay.
like
I think that feels like a
good.
potential turning point in that phase.
Yeah. So listen, if I'm understanding correctly, I just want to make absolutely certain here. You've basically projected at least the emotions of your memory into these guards, and it just
Yes.
like stops them
as I'm approaching
dead.
them.
Yeah. I feel like it's like there's this like they fall to their knees, right? Like and just have like a actually I want all three guards to have like a different reaction. It doesn't matter. Like one of them just starts openly weeping, and then another one just kind of stares off into the distance. Like they're just all like having their own personal reaction to this feeling that they can't control.
And I'm thinking that just because I can't control it, maybe Brother Dalen is also caught in this as well.
Oh, sure. Is it
like uncharacteristically angry, perhaps? I mean, every reason to be angry right now.
Right.
Yeah. I think you have just cause.
All right. I rolled another tie. So I am switching back over to Jovial. Man, do we pick up just right where we left off? Okay. Quick question. Do we have any other things we want to add to that third motif? Did anyone feel any other good descriptions in there?
Not yet.
Okay. I'm gonna do a rogue's phase because I think this is a good spot. I think I know it is. Okay. It's Jovial. You're outside now. You've managed to crawl through the teeth. You've managed to bring not only the guards but like the crowd itself just kind of like it's like a wave. It like pushed back into them. I think it also helped that like they're all they're angry to avoid mourning the disaster that has befallen them. And it just like it wipes that away from them, and now they have to mourn, right? Like there's like a so the three of you managed to struggle, like you managed to get Brother Dalen, and got a lot of injuries here, but you still pull yourself out through the teeth. And then you start climbing down the you climb down the face of and now you're in the stringy hair, like you're climbing down the hair forest that's leading to the ground, right?
So may I interrupt with a quick question?
Yeah.
Because I have this whole time, even when we were still escaping, been wondering in terms of like where we are on the mouth here. Where's the gold tooth? Where's the gold tooth at in relation to us? Because my guy keeps thinking, I feel like I'm unlikely to resolve my complex and very engaging backstory, but perhaps we could get some wealth out of this.
Okay. Then I know exactly what I'm going to do here. So the thunder is the fact that like I had mentioned early on, there's people often come here on birdback, these giant, I'm thinking of like sandhill cranes, but they're big, all birds that are big are terrifying except for Big Bird. But like, just like these terrifying big birds, they're the ones like it's dusk. It's, like that, like blue light of dusk, or maybe just the sunset right now. We're Jovial. The sunset, it's a gorgeous sunset with like these, like the video game Joust, these people on birdback. This is your thunder. They're out there in the sunset, flying over, waiting for you to come out of it. Then I am going to hand the dice to you, Slimy, and show us how you steal the gold tooth.
Well, okay.
Roll first.
Right. Hey, for once, Slimy's feeling jovial. I got a 4 over a 3.
It's that gold.
Yeah, no, the gold is bringing the Cockney, the fantasy Cockney out of him, and he's sitting there trying to think of clever rhymes that he'll have to explain at great length to anybody who hears them. But otherwise, he's looking at the tooth and he's kind of thinking, well, okay, this jaw like slammed down, right? So how hard did it really hit that gold tooth? And like how well lodged is that tooth still? Could we kind of like, get it to fall free, and it's so big it's going to kind of like surf down the side of the mountain, but even that, maybe that could be to our advantage. So I'm really like, I'm looking, I don't want to do this with my mouth because it's kind of gross, but like I'm really looking at like where the gum meets the gold tooth, for some kind of like, oh, that's the last chewy bit of gum that's attached, and that's where there's a gap we can work. So I guess at this point, my guy Slimy might be yeah, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out my grandmother's stiletto that I kept in my underpants, and I'm going to use that as an ad hoc climbing tool to help me clamber up, because the teeth are meeting enough if it's not a perfect seal.
Right, yeah.
I imagine I can get... Is the gold tooth on the... what relative to us now, because I know the head's like upside down. Relative to us, is the gold tooth on the upper or lower row?
I don't think I said, so whichever works best for what you're trying here, I think.
Okay, if I can turn to my advantage, then I will say it's on the lower, so therefore top row of teeth, relatively close to us. And so I'm going to then not so much climb as scamper down to the gum line and start sawing. Between, I've got, remember I had that piece of bone with the serrated edge, so I'll start using that serrated edge and start like hacking away at the gum, and maybe it's not going to get it this turn, but like I'm beginning a process here, because that way, like, I'm kind of almost sliding under, because the tooth would like arc down, right, from my point of view, into the gum. So I kind of want to get under there so the birds can't see me as well, and I can start working at the gum. So that's what I'm getting up to. And I whistle while I work because this is a jovial, good business for me. I'm freeing up a tremendous amount of wealth, and that makes me happy.
This is great. I am going to definitely write down giant dentistry.
And I am, of course, seeking out the 1 weak point.
That's okay. Yeah, I was hoping that this echoed something, and that I think that works. Yeah,
and of course I'm working, and that 1 weak point I'm looking for is in the corpse that no one can smell. So I guess at this point I should be tossing it to Rick or Jeremy. So I don't know. I'm gonna roll odd number. Okay, Jeremy. Jeremy, show me how you help me fully free the tooth.
Okay. I'm still jovial. Well, I mean, luckily I still have my sense of smell, and even giants are not immune to tooth decay. And I'm like, look, this tooth, it was put here for a reason. It was here to fix a problem, and I don't think that problem's gone away. So I start exploring the edges, and of course my own personal interest is I do have my own obsession with numismatics. I'm fascinated by like what this giant cast gold alloy could be. Is it actually pure gold, or is there something else going on with it? So I'm feeling around, and then I'm nudging my own little picks around the edges, and suddenly I hit something just under the soft play of the gold, and this horrendous stench just emerges, just blasts out, and I almost pass out. And I'm like, this is the spot. This is where we're gonna have to dig.
Okay, so you found that spot. Awesome.
I would like to add this horrendous stench to the third motif. That starts our end game.
Yep.
So stench from like a centuries old,
like dead nerve ending situation.
Yeah.
Like,
the giant abscess. Yeah.
No magical root canal.
Yeah. All right. So we have not rolled any mysteries or morals. It's just fine. That occasionally happens. We have
learn nothing, do no good, whatever. No hugs. Exactly. No hugs, no learning. We did it.
Exactly. We did it. Straightforward. So we're gonna keep playing as we have been playing, but now you can reincorporate, and I encourage you to do so. The way to do that is just to grab one of the motifs, the first, second, or third, and just combine two elements on it. And So I say, unless you want to end the phase, unless anyone wants to end this rogue's phase, I say we keep going with it, because I think we almost got this tooth out, which means we get to make a demand to someone else. But if we want to end it, we can end it, and we can move on to the next phase.
I mean, shouldn't we work together as a team? Jeremy, you do what makes you feel right, but I would gently suggest tossing it to Rick and seeing
yes, absolutely. Rick, Brother Dalen, I want you to show me how you are dealing with the amount of attention we're starting to get from the people on the birds.
I guess we'll find out if the birds are friendly or not. That is jovial.
Nice.
Oh, so I guess we would have, come in on the birds and perhaps like made contacts with these traders in our own travels and adventures previously. So I am not convinced that it's necessarily bad to get this attention.
Yeah, I mean, if they're merchants,
yeah,
and clearly,
and they have like a rock bird,
yeah,
that would be able to perhaps carry this motherlode of gold that we've uncovered once we're able to get it out. So taking the lamp that I've picked up from where I was attacked, it was still alight, and when we were fleeing up the tunnels, I kept hold of this. I would, on my injured leg and all, like hobble out, hanging on to what's left of the lip, and like try to signal to our contacts. But this unfortunately perhaps might draw some attention from the city's own guards on Birdback. So we have contacts with the traders, and this is like a signal of like, hey, come, there's a score. But this like light movement might also attract unwelcome attention.
I think I see where we're combining two threads, if I can point that out.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
because we've got the giant industry, but this also is sort of like calling back to the motes of in the daylight between teeth. It's like instead of daylight, we've got this lantern light as the sun setting in the teeth.
Yeah, so the two elements should come from the same thread, but I think we can do something. Let's see. Let's look at the. Okay, so the question for Rick is, if you want to reincorporate here, I think the motes of the setting dust and the daylight between the teeth is definitely can be reincorporated here. So is there another one of these that you want to another one of those other two that you want to jam in your description to make
from
it
the second motif?
Yeah.
Let's see. The only way that I'm able to get out from the inside is to squeeze through one of these dark holes of the cavity. Now that they've kind of pried a little bit of the rotting gum line away from the tooth, squeeze through this muck that I fortunately can only smell a little bit, and just absolutely worst filth of my life, go through this dark crevice to shine the light.
I'm literally throwing up over this giant slip.
I'm
wondering if these people will ever get their sense of smell back, or if this is just our new reality.
That's awesome. I'm gonna just strike these through so that we know that these are the ones. So again, you can make a demand. You can't get the dice anymore. That's fine, because only one other person has to reincorporate here. So go ahead and if you have a demand, or we can end the phase there, but I feel like this is a good place to stick our landing. But I
feel comfortable with landing here.
Yeah.
I'm really determined to try and tie two things in together.
Okay.
But I kind of, because it's but
do you have a demand for Slimy then? Do you want to show us?
Would it be okay to fish for what Oliver has in mind?
Yeah. We're working together.
I'm really looking. I'm thinking about we've got the cavity hole situation, right? We're sawing at the tooth and all that stuff, and it's well, what if the problem, at least in the present, or maybe it was always the problem when the giant was alive, because it's a whole ecosystem unto itself, is what if we've seen the babies, we haven't seen the mama of the wolf-like too many leg creepy crawlies. So I like the idea of complicating things by we free the tooth, but then out of the holes comes the
How would tell us how Slimy would deal with the mother coming out from the root canal.
Okay, so I'm sawing, I guess, and then
Roll first.
Oh yeah, sorry, good point.
Yeah, because
Oh, okay, so finally a mystery. I think.
Oh,
I
okay.
rolled 2 double 2s.
all right. So that'll be Glum. You won't be able to deal with her. But the other thing about this is that during the end game, if you roll a mystery or a moral, and you can ignore that if you reincorporate. So like it's a way of like saying we're almost at the end here. No time to add a new moral or mystery. So if you have a thing to reincorporate, then we can ignore the fact that it's a mystery. You're still unable to deal with it, which is fine. I think that makes
yeah. So okay, and the two to reincorporate the two things have to both be from the same like motif tier.
Yeah.
So in this case, wolf-like means I'm on the first one. So 1 weak point, corpse that no one else can smell. Well, I mean, I could be lazy and say the corpse is the giant, and I'm reincorporating that with the wolf, but instead, I think we're going to go with 1 weak point and 1 wolf. And I think how I don't deal with it is, I'm thinking of almost like the certain phases of The Thing from John Carpenter's remake, but it's just like it just comes out and it's got like 19 goddamn legs and a wolf-like head, but we just say wolf because we can't really describe what it actually looks like. Wolf is like my brain trying to make sense of what it's seeing and doing its best. And it's just making horrible snarly snapping noises and coming at me. And how do we get 1 weak point? Well, I have that bone I was starting with. Obviously, my guy's first reflex would be to like try and hit it. But one of its many canines, and it has way more than a regular wolf would. It strikes my bone femur club thing saw right at its weak point, shattering in half. And the wolf thing pounces on me, and will I survive? I don't know, but it's looking bad for old Slimy.
Okay, so this is great. Reincorporate those. So okay, now I'm going to be a stickler for these rules, which is fine. This puts us in a good situation. The story has ended, unless we want to hear an epilogue. And on that epilogue, it's Jeremy. You'll roll. And in that tone, you give us a sentence or two that just ties up the very ending of the story here. So the first question is, as a group, do we want that? Or does it end with like, oh, you want it? Okay, all right.
Yeah, please. And Jeremy, as your editor, I would like to ask for a happy ending for it. No, do whatever feels right.
I mean, you just barely got it. It's 2-1 for Jovial. So
all right,
Slimy will return in.
Yeah, I have pull a trick with my canny cognition, and I realize that I've just been making a lot of assumptions about giant anatomy, and maybe this is just have always been, even when living, an entire ecosystem onto themselves.
Yeah,
and maybe the gold cap isn't to stop decay. Maybe the gold cap was actually to stop the spiders. These creatures. And I realize that I've got this collection of numismatics, as my name, Cole Lichter, might imply. I am.
I see.
And maybe in my hands we had a way to ward off this terrible beast.
What would that be, though?
Oh, literally my gold that I've.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Excellent. So I feel like it's slightly an open question about whether or not you actually use it for but that's great. Yeah. So that's Swords Without Master. This is the basic game. There's advanced rules. We could do things like, oh, we left these on the table, like these threads on the table. We want to bring them back next time to reincorporate them. Or like, this feels like the first part of a trilogy or something like that. There's like rules for doing that kind of thing. There's rules for like setting up scenarios like ahead of time to say like, we're going to make sure this happens or that happens. But at its core, this is what we did. So thank you so much for playing with me. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you for introducing us to it and running it. I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
And
thank you for running. It definitely went directions I did not expect.
Yeah, that's I never I try to like I'm like I cannot sit down and say like there's some games where you could be like I can't wait till they come up across this room or come across this, and I'm like I cannot have that attitude with this game. I have no idea where it's going to go at any moment. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, and like how with I mean I know you said that there are these rules and you don't need to lay them all out for us, but I'm very curious. Like I can easily see how this works for one shots. We just did it,
Mhm.
but for like longer campaigns, like is it instead of like would we, for example, for this one, would we maybe say horrendous stench from centuries old nerve endings, and we're like, well, we gotta have that next time. So like
Yeah.
somehow or another, maybe next time we're running into I don't know a lich, and then, like its teeth are the worst. Like, or how does that like? Because I can see how these threads could like be built on and built on and built on and built on. And, like,
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's good for like? Could you see someone running like a 2-year-long campaign with the same characters coming back over and over again, or is this more of a shorter form system?
Well, it's like there are like we went over some of the tricks, but there's like tricks like there's one called Echoes of the Past, which literally is that like you're like, hey, I really like this, so I'm going to bring this forward, and it has to happen in this next game, right?
Okay.
Like you're saying, I like this thread, and I want this, and I want to make sure that it occurs again. There's like I said before, there's different ways to do kind of like campaign style things. One of the things early on we did was called Sunday Morning Swords, because Sunday morning is when Thundar the Barbarian was on when I was a kid. And I don't know if you remember that cartoon at all.
Still holds up. I'm a He-Man guy, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
It still holds up. I got it on DVD. I love it. So I was like trying to get this game out there, trying to get people to know. But this is back in the G+ days, that kind of thing. So I was like, every Sunday morning, I'll run a couple hours of this game. The setting is the Thundar setting. It's a far post-apocalyptic, so that there are wizards around. And what's great about it is that like there's nothing sacred. Like you could do all sorts of weird things. And that was like an ongoing thing where we had people drop in and drop out, and we had things that like kept showing up. Like one of the things was that in that particular setting, somebody introduced that whales were sorceress. They all had like they're covered in barnacles, and they had like they spoke the language of magic, and they could do things, and that just kept building and building and building until whales were like the most terrifying thing in the game. And just things like that. So like you could do ongoing ones, but like one of the things that I enjoyed most about the Sunday Morning Swords was that there was no, like I said before, there's no continuity. Like the continuity was almost accidental when it happened. Like somebody just liked something. Like it's fine if like, oh, we were building this and we didn't finish it. You can do games like that, but you have to be intentional when you sit down to do it. If you're just getting together over and over as a group, you have to be ready to be like, yeah, at one point we said the stars were launched from the top of this mountain, but now they're actually in this bowl, just giant bowl that the universe is in, or something like that. Like,
okay. I guess I have one other question I'm very curious about, because I'm way more familiar with like simulationist gaming, so maybe this is just my ignorance of storytelling focused systems, but like, okay, so with simulationist gaming, we're all familiar with like min-maxers and other like problematic behavior by players. For this, it feels like, it's so much more improv focused. Would you perhaps once in a while have to run into, as an overplayer or GM, I want to say, would you have to kind of navigate maybe a player who's like a bad improv person? They're doing like a lot of no instead of yes and, or like what's like an issue like that you might run into while doing this, and how would you navigate it?
I've run this game quite a few times, like a lot. I mean, it's just a symptom of the profession there, but like mostly people get it. Like we do a lot of like really every single moment in this game the design is you're never alone. You're either answering a demand that someone else made of you, or you're asking a question of someone else. Like everything is made out of like two people agreeing on something. Depending on the phase, it changes who the two people are. But that's on purpose. That's so you're not stuck on your own. You can sort of like, I find that like you kind of get into like a nice groove with like, you can awaken somebody's sense of improv, if you will, or whatever, with like a good demand or something like that. Like they go, oh yeah, I know how this is, you know, like you can see that light up. But there are times like I think like one of the things, sometimes I teach this game starting with the perilous phase and moving out. But sometimes what happens with that is that like the perilous phase, you know, is the combat phase, and combat works a particular way in traditional, you know, like D&D has combat goes like, so people don't know that they're free to do what they want with it. So they're just like, I take a swing at it.
Right.
And then they stop there. And that's not a problem. We could do something with that. But it is like, it's not fully using the spirit of the game, I guess is what so. But like I said,
so you sometimes have to encourage people to be like, no, there's greater possibilities here. Like, yeah.
But when that happens, when I'm running it and that happens, I'm like, okay, then this next phase is a rogues phase, and we're going to show you like we're going to show you Unleashed. Like, let's see what you can do, and then yeah.
And then by the time you get back to Perilous, they get it. Yeah, because they've seen demonstrated. Sorry, Jeremy, you were trying to say something. What's up?
Yeah, that was an interesting element of this play session, which is, you know, the few times we skipped ahead, I think in a traditional D&D game, the resolution of that would be important because we all have to like get our experience, whatever, and level up. Right. But in this case, we can say, okay, we can see how this might get resolved. We can jump into the next opportunity for doing something different.
Yeah. Oh, and the experience thing is a thing you were asking about the longer game. When you use a feat heroic, you cross that out, and then the next time you play, you just have to write a new one for your character. So and in between games, you can always change your trick out for something else. So there's no there's no like level build in this game. Like you don't necessarily become. In fact, we did play a game where I was like, we've done this game like a few months back where we're all these rogues. I'd like to play us all as broken old rogues, those same rogues, but like 30 years on, and just and you know, like the ones that had magic powers were like the powers were way out there, but like the fightery guys were like, it hurts to stand up. like, but we got to keep doing it, you know? So yeah, it's, you can make the characters change over time. But like, it's not necessarily
it's like changing your tool set is not like getting more powerful unless that's a fun thing to explore. I get what you're saying. Yeah. So changing out the basic premises that build out your person or group. Okay, well, I mean, that was really fun, man. I really appreciated that. I definitely want to look into it more myself. And for anybody who wants to acquire, Swords Without Master, how should they best do that?
Yeah, if you go to swordswithoutmaster.com, that's swords is plural, master is singular. I did not buy up all the iterations of but if you go there, it will currently take you straight to the Kickstarter page. Where you can do a late pledge, you can get those Eidolon folios, which are the art cards that come with it if you want, and then in the future when we no longer need late pledges, it'll take you to where you need to go to, in case somebody's 10 years from now. I can't guarantee.
I mean, it's a recording. You might see it after the late pledges are over. So yeah, swordswithoutmaster.com.
Exactly.
All right. Well, awesome. And meanwhile, some more people pledged while we were playing. That's always nice for me to see. Folks, we got 15 days left, and we have 752 backers. And I don't know. Awesome. Even if we get close, I'll be happy. But I confessed before this as a kind of like, I'm tired, so I'm losing but like as an inspirational idea, I just for fun put a 1 in Photoshop and then used our logo to make 3 zeros. It's like, what if we got 1,000 backers this year? That'd be pretty cool. I mean, we've outpaced last year already. So I don't know if we can get another 248 backers. Is that all in 15 days? I don't know what I'll do. My head will explode. I'll turn one of my legs into a steam engine. Who knows what the hell I'll do, but it'll be something incredible. So that's my promise. If we hit 1,000 backers, tell your friends, tell 248 of your nearest and dearest friends to please pledge for New Age Storm Sorcery to 2026. Especially because, you know, even though like we're funded for sure at this point, we can always pay our contributors more. And now all our pay raises have like fun little things I stuck on the side, so backers get something out of it as well, like digital art backgrounds, short story critiques. Jeremy actually will be doing a short story critique for the lucky backer who gets us to one of the next raises, and other people are contributing things like that as well. And also flash fiction is being unlocked, like all kinds of goodies. So, you know, it's all on an obscenely large chart I put on the thing because I made this up at the last minute because I didn't think we'd get this far so fast. So nice problem to have.
Yeah, that's a good problem.
Yeah, I mean, not complaining, but it just, yeah. So, yeah, and also the fact that it's on top of all that stuff else, you know, every dollar extra that we get, we can put into the other books and the cool things we're doing this year. And all this, the magazine crowdfund is like this big ship that like shapes everything that comes out for the rest of the year. So that's part of why I'm so excited for it. Yeah. Anyway, I'll babble on forever. Anybody who's known me for 5 minutes knows that. So why don't I draw this phase to a close and to say thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for joining us. Obviously, thank you, Epi. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
You know, thank everyone involved with the magazine. And yeah, our next live stream will be next Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Synths Against Synths Against Sorcery. The night of dungeon synth music and mayhem and interview and so forth, hosted by Jay Reckard. All right. Good night. Boop. End stream. I should make an outro video. I don't know what that